Welcome to the talk here tonight. My name is Dr. Jeff. We're going to go over our Maximize Living Makeover. First one of these I did was back in 2007. It was at St. Aloysius Church, and it was called Extreme Makeover God's Way. So it's kind of changed over time, but we're going to go over the 5 essentials of Maximize Living. Heavy, Mike. And I'm going to start today with 2 videos. So Adam, can you get this going for me?
Anybody else need?
Videos are unpredictable for me.
I hear
One more time.
Yeah. Hours a day you
This
waste.
is Jordan
How many
Peterson.
hours a week you waste. The classic answer is something like 4 to 6 hours a day. And so if your life isn't everything it could be, you could ask yourself, well, what would happen if you just stopped wasting the opportunities that are in front of you? You'd be, who knows how much more efficient? 10 times more efficient. 20 times more efficient. That's the Pareto distribution. You have no idea how efficient people get. It's off the charts. Well, and if we all got our act together collectively and stop making things worse, because that's another thing people do all the time. Not only do they not do what they should to make things better, they actively attempt to make things worse because they're spiteful or resentful or arrogant or deceitful or homicidal or genocidal or all of those things all bundled together in an absolutely pathological package. If people stop really trying just to make things worse, we have no idea how much better they would get just because of that. So there's this weird dynamic that's part of the existential system of ideas between human vulnerability, social judgment, both of which are major causes of suffering, and the failure of individuals to adopt the responsibility that they know they should adopt. Well, if you take people, and I've told you this, and you expose them voluntarily to things that they are avoiding and are afraid of, that they know they need to overcome in order to meet their goals, their self-defined goals. If you can teach people to stand up in the face of the things they're afraid of, they get stronger. And you don't know what the upper limits to that are, because you might ask yourself, if for 10 years, if you didn't avoid doing what you knew you needed to do, by your own definitions, right, within the value structure that you've created, to the degree that you've done that, what would you be like? Well, there are remarkable people who come into the world from time to time. There are people who do find out over decades-long periods what they could be like if they were who they were, if they spoke their being forward. And they get stronger and stronger and stronger. You don't know the limits to that. You do not know the limits to that. And so you could say, well, in part, perhaps the reason that you're suffering unbearably can be left at your feet, because you're not everything you could be, and you know it. And of course, that's a terrible thing to admit, and it's a terrible thing to consider. But there's real promise here, right? Because it means that perhaps there's another way that we can look at the world, another way that we can act in the world, so that we reflect back to you much better than what it reflects back to you. So you might say, well, what would happen if you abided by your conscience for 5 years, or for 10 years? What sort of position might you be in? What sort of family might you have? What sort of relationship might you forge? You can be bloody sure that a relationship is forged on the basis of who you actually are is going to be a lot stronger and more welcome than one that's forged on the basis of who you aren't. And it's a great basis on which to bring children into the world, for example, and have an actual relationship with them instead of torturing them after death, which is what happens in a tremendously large minority of cases. Because it isn't merely that your fate depends on whether or not you can get your act together, to what degree you decide that you're going to live out your own genuine being. It isn't only your fate, it's the fate of everyone you can network with. And so, you think, well, there's 7 billion people in the world, who are you? You're just one little decimal among that 7 billion. And so it doesn't matter what you do or don't do, but that's simply not the case. It's the wrong model, because you're at the center of a network. You're a node in a network. Of course, that's even more true now that we have social media. You'll know 1,000 people, at least, over the course of your life. And they'll know 1,000 people. If you're one person away from a million, it's 2 persons away from a billion. And so that's how you connect. And the things you do are what drop the stone in the pond. The ripple
like talks about potential. And potential is a big part of what you need to get started at. But tonight we're going to talk about beyond potential. We're going to talk about destiny. But you can't get to destiny until you do potential. You get that? These things are connected. People aim way too low in our lives. And that's what tonight's talk is all about. In fact, the first 13 slides that I've put together here tonight are the most important slides you're going to see. The rest, I'm going to show you it's kind of like a manual of what you need to do. But it all starts with up here. And if you don't get this part right, it doesn't work out at all. Now, the next video, and this is the last video of the night. I'm not just going to show YouTube videos all night and send you home. This video, does anyone know who this is?
Lindsay Shepherd.
It almost looks like it's Trevor Williams. This guy he's the football quarterback for Clemson. They won the national championship last Monday night. And I hate it when 19-year-olds are 10 times smarter than me. Actually, I enjoy it because when you listen to how smart this guy is and his view of the world, I like to adapt what other people and learn and want to move in this direction. So this guy has just won the national championship. He is what they call a sophomore. All right? No, sorry, he's a freshman. Freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. So this is his first year at university, and he's the starting quarterback. That's not supposed to happen. All right? It should be a third year. It should be a fourth year. He's a starting first year, and he wins the national championship, which would make him probably one of the better quarterbacks in the entire league. So it's amazing. But listen to the words of wisdom that he has. This is a very short interview.
That's just kind of always been my personality. And then just growing up, my family's always like, I mean, football's important to me, obviously, but it's not my life. It's not like the biggest thing in my life, I would say. My faith is. So that just comes from kind of knowing who I am outside of that. So I just know, no matter how big the situation is, it's not really going to define me. Just putting my identity in, what Christ says, who He thinks I am, and who I know that He says I am. So really, like I said, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter what people think about me or how good they think I play or whatever. It doesn't really matter. So that's definitely been a big thing for me, just in my situation, just knowing that, having confidence in that.
Wow.
Yes.
Isn't that amazing?
And Clemson was no way supposed to beat Alabama. Ever.
And they beat him, and they beat him. But he's just so calm, he's so clear. And that's what tonight is all about, is figuring out who you are. Because if you don't know who you are, who cares if you can lose 10 pounds? Who cares if you can run faster? You're still, I want to make you the person that you're supposed to be. But that's up to you to decide and define who you are by your choices. We all have different value systems. We all have different ideas. So you need to become who you're supposed to be. So like I said, the first 10 slides, the most important thing, that the message you're going to get tonight is in this. The rest is just going to be how you do it. The rest of the slides, that's your manual. People aren't very good at reading manuals, are they? It's crazy that people don't want to get the most out of things. And let me ask you, why aren't people in shape, or why do people have trouble losing weight? There's all sorts of information out there on all of those subjects, isn't there? We know what we're supposed to do, and yet somehow we decide that we're not going to do it. So that's the decision, that's our mindset. So we have to get a whole lot better at the mindset, because diet books come out all the time and workouts come out all the time, and guess what? People keep putting on weight and they keep getting sicker and sicker. It's not waiting around. It's not waiting around for your medical doctor to tell you to do something. That's way too late. When do we see doctors anyways? When we're? How do we know we're sick? We get a symptom. Yeah. We're sick. We go to our doctor. You have symptoms. There's something wrong, and we call that health care. Isn't that ironic? Wouldn't that be called sick care? And then you go back to see if you're sick again, or you go back to see if you've got a sickness in an early stage. That's called preventative medicine, when you're already sick, but just at an earlier stage. See how crazy that is? We have a sick care system, and I'm not saying we shouldn't have a sick care system. Why don't we just call it sick care? Health care is you making different decisions, because God did not design you to get sick in the first place. All right? The reason why we get sick is we make choices. So it's kind of like that dark light thing. Darkness is simply lack of light. Darkness is not a real state, it's the lack of light. Sickness is simply the lack of health. Sickness is not a state, it's a lack of something else. So how do you fix it? Well, health is the normal software. We just make better choices and your body heals itself. Remember, this is really, really important. God is crazy in love with you, okay? He loves you more than you possibly could imagine. He's not mad at you. This is not Old Testament stuff. He's not angry with you. And the fact that you constantly think He's angry at you is making your choices. You're not understanding how He feels about you. So then you're getting into these self-destructive. Jordan Peterson said it pretty well, didn't he? Not that we're not helping. We're self-destructing ourselves. And that's a pretty smart guy. So I like to listen to smart people, and we all have those issues that we get into. Well, guess what? We need to have less of those moments. When we make a mistake, we need to get out of those mistakes quicker instead of beating ourselves up. We are causing a lot of struggles in our own life. We all do it to ourselves. So I'm talking about me, not necessarily you. It's probably just me. Honesty. I'm not calling you a liar, but do we know who we are? Have you sat down and figured out who you are? And once you figure out who you are, you got to figure out where you're going in life, what your purpose is in life. So when I have a workshop, a lot of these things have to do with work. So it's not like, oh, I took some notes, I'm going to go home and everything's going to be fine. No, no, no. You're going to go home and you're going to read some books and you're going to do some things the same way I do some things. And then you'll become a better person. This is a journey that we're on. Avoiding things you don't like is not what's going to get you where you need to be in the future anyways. So you may as well suck it up and start doing this stuff right now. It's about moving from your potential. Jordan Peterson talked about your potential. Your potential is a good place to aim for, but it's aiming too low. It's about your destiny. It's about what you're capable of doing with the people around you and the choices that you're making in your life. So no one's asking you to be a saint. We're saying be better at who you are. And if you think about yourself as a saint, you'll find that you end up sinning and making mistakes a whole lot less often. But if you're living this world where you're constantly trying to please God and then you mess up and then you're going to go hide for a month and then do this, it's just not going to work out for you. It's not what you need to do. So God loves you. That's a great thing. Now we just have to start making some good choices. Now we all wear masks. So first you have to figure out if you're wearing masks when we're pretending to be someone else. Because if someone likes you, if someone likes me, for example, because I'm pretending to be someone else, you know what? They don't like me. They like my mask. All right? So I'd rather have them like me for me instead of me for pretending that I'm someone else. And a lot of us are pretending. So we have to figure out who we are, where we're going, and how we're going to get there. So it's about taking masks off, being honest with people. You're good at things, you're bad at things. The hardest thing that I find in my office is when I sit down and I'm dealing with people that want to lose weight or get in better shape, and then I get them to write their diet out, and their diet's 4 times better than mine. And it's like, wow, that's weird, because I wouldn't have guessed it was that much better than mine. See, I'm immediately handcuffed at that point. I cannot help them anymore, because I've given them the opportunity for them to tell me that they're way better at this, and the only way energy flows is kind of top to bottom. So if they're knowing way more than me, they should be putting on a seminar. So once again, that isn't always true, but we can find out about the choices that we're making. So if you want more information, grab a food journal tonight. Write down everything you eat for a week, and we will go through it with love, and we'll show you what you can do better. And look at it as a lesson, because when we do the second food journal, we'll be able to look back and go, wow, what a difference. All right, that's what we're looking for when we're trying to help people. So we have to figure out where you are, who you are. Then you have to understand who God is, because once you understand who He is, then you can probably have a conversation with Him. But if you don't know who He is, you don't know who you are, He knows who you are, don't worry. But if you don't know who the players are in the conversation, it's going to be a pretty awkward conversation. You guys got into those awkward conversations with people at dinner parties, you go, I don't know what to say next. Well, that's where people are living their lives. So you need to break through. You need to take the masks off. You need to start making better choices. Do resolutions work? What do you think? I'm going to say no. Boy, it's a quiet crowd today. You can talk back when I say something. Do resolutions work?
No, that's what you want.
Why don't they work? Because, show us some reasons.
You're not responsible, like if you just say it to yourself.
Yeah.
You're not accountable to anybody.
You didn't
or
make it
anything else.
accountable. It's pie in the sky. You might not have a game plan. There's a lot of reasons, isn't there? They don't work because we don't define them. We don't make it clear. We don't put deadlines on them. There's a lot of reasons why they don't work. There's a bunch of things I want to do, but if I'm not prepared to put the work into them, none of them are going to happen. All right? So we all know that. And a lot of times, you might just want to pull out the 2018 New Year's resolutions and just reuse last year's because most people didn't do anything. So it's a matter of saying, let's make sure we do that. Now, I do know how to spell. The thought thing is a chiropractic word, just so you know. One reason I thought is by people, they don't know what their big why is. Now, the big why in life is when I ask someone why they want to do something, say, well, I want to do this so that I'm healthy for my children, so I can be around for the grandchildren. So people always have what we call the big why. Why do you need to do that? And that is important. But if you press people and you press in a little bit more, you say, well, why do you need to be around for the grandchildren? They say, well, because I want the world. Okay, you want the world. And you eventually get into a spot where you go from you to the community and to the world. It doesn't take long. Like Jordan Peterson said, it doesn't take long to reach the whole world. Most of us, we say, I've done something. I'm just going to stop right here. You need to step through it. You need to be around. You can change the world. No one says you have to invent a new car or deal with pollution, but you need to change the world by becoming a better version of you. And if you do that, then that is what we're aiming for along the way. But people need to know what their big why is. So you need to put some thought in who you are and why you need to become the person that you're supposed to be. The reason why you have a big why, yeah. And like I said, people are just aiming too low. It was interesting, I saw a video a few weeks ago and they were saying it's easier to aim for big lofty things because no one else is aiming for them. So it's actually easier to achieve those goals in life. People are aiming for things that are way below what they're capable of doing. And then you know what? You achieve the goal, but it was so low and it wasn't anything important in your life that you kind of say, well, setting goals is kind of boring then. It's because you didn't do it right. Set lofty goals, fail, try again, fail, and then eventually figure them out. Do not aim low in life, aim way, way too high, and do not be afraid of failing. When you read Jordan Peterson's book, you learn a whole lot of things by things going wrong in your life. If you're playing sports and you're always winning, what is your impetus to practice and get better? It doesn't make sense. It's my catastrophic failures that created me to become better at what I do. I remember our first few talks that we put on. Chapters, remember that one?
Oh, it's like reading off a card.
And it's talking in front of a group, and then before I know it, I got a radio show. I'm on Faith FM. So I did 10 years on Faith FM, and I don't want to know how many people were listening, because then you start thinking, people were listening. What if I said something wrong? Well, if I said something wrong, my station manager will eventually haul me in there, and we'll talk about it. But, we worry about ourselves instead about other people. And as soon as you get yourself out of the way, you'll be amazed how much better your life is. You'll take your mask off and you'll become who you're supposed to be because you're concerned about other people instead of concerned about yourself. So there's very little concern about, I wonder if I'm going to say anything stupid tonight. I probably will. So I'll get through that and then I'll go on from there. It's not about me anyways. It's about you and what you can get out of this to make this world a better place. As human beings, we are designed to fail if we're only thinking about ourselves. You are not going to be happy at the end of your life if all of your decisions were only about you. All right? But when you start doing things for other people, that's when life gets fun. That's when connections happen. That's when people move towards their potential. That's how people get to their destiny in life, by getting engaged and helping other people. We get caught up in the world. We all get caught up in the world. I'm not saying you can't take time off, you can't take vacations, you can't take a break at night, but you really need goals. And Linda's going to get into goals later on tonight. And if people are only about themselves, well, your potential is out the window. Your destiny is not going to happen at all. It's just not going to happen. Life is hard. This is something I think the young people have a little trouble with, isn't it? When we were growing up, wasn't life kind of hard for us too?
Yeah.
You know, were people taking us to Hawaii on vacations? Or were people paying my visa bill? No, none of these things weren't happening. We had to go and find a job. We had to go to school. We had to pay our OSAP back. Loans weren't forgiven. This was the real world. And we did it. And you know what? Probably made us better people, didn't it? Because we didn't allow someone else to do it. And I think the world's kind of shifted a little to the left here, and we got to bring it back a little in the sense, because I think it's important that children fail in certain ways. I think they need to learn from their failures, and I'm sure that's part of God's plan anyways, to make you a better person, to sharpen you by adversity. Participation medals.
Oh, please.
I know. You know, hey, we go into work, hey, everyone got a promotion today. We all got a promotion? Yes, we all got a promotion. It's like, well, that's kind of odd, isn't it? Wouldn't the best person get the job? No, everyone got a promotion. Don't think about it. Yes. Why are we making it harder? Life is hard, but we're making it harder on ourselves all the time, too. Everyone has problems. It's our snowflake moment. I think I've gone over enough of that. So it's time to suck it up and realize that we can have better problems. You're still going to have problems in life. Everyone has problems. Elon Musk has problems. Donald Trump has problems. Justin Trudeau has problems. Everyone has problems, but everyone has different problems. The funny thing is we create most of our problems. So I think we should focus on creating better problems for ourselves. But life is not supposed to be super easy. There is supposed to be challenges and adversity along the way. That's a normal thing. Peterson says it very clearly. Life is hard. Life is painful. There was no promise that everything was going to be good. Your parents are going to die, you know? If they haven't died already, it's going to happen. It's happened to everyone else on earth. It has to happen. It's not going to be fun, but it's part of everything else that you have to go through. It's how you react to these situations that's super, super important. And there's too many young people who are taking too many medications for stress and anxiety nowadays. And these drugs increase the chance of them harming themselves. We have to acknowledge that. And then we have to try to change our coping skills. Our pastor was talking about this a few weeks ago in church, and I love it because he was talking about old truths. Old truths are things that we absolutely are undisputable. We know that they're true. No matter what, they're absolutely true. And we got into a world where people like new ideas now. Oh, here's a new idea how I can lose weight. Here's a new idea how I can work out. It's like, you're going for a new idea. And some of the new ideas are going to be good ideas, and some are going to be bad ideas. But why don't we just go with the old truths? Why don't we just go with some simple things, kind of simplify it so that you can actually do it. And yeah, the hard work is what you have to put in. There is no easy path to success. And your success, what you look at your success and what I look at mine, they absolutely are going to be different things. So I'm talking about your success based on your value system. But you have to put the hard work in. Why try to reinvent things all the time? Hey, a McDonald's burger is not a good burger, but it's a consistently bad burger that apparently a lot of people want to eat. All right? Not me, but that's what people do. So some recipes do work, And I think it would be easier if you just understood. And this is the first part of tonight. I'll show you what you need to do. But this is what you need to do if you're going to be successful. What you need to say to the devil. I remember in the good old days, I'd shout this out. Is that all you've got? Now it's like, you know what? Is that all you've got? It's the cocky attitude now is like, you already lost. You're already the loser. Why am I even worried about you? And yet we get caught up in this. It's like, you know, you can do this. Anyone can do it, but you have to have belief in yourself. God has belief in you. Your friends have belief in you. So you know what? Put your head down, work hard. If you fail, you put your head down, you work hard, you'll get this stuff. But don't get discouraged. And remember, it's not about losing 5 pounds. It's not about losing 10 pounds. It's about becoming a better version of you. And that's what you should be thinking about. But get that mindset straight. God loves you. You're a great person. And even though we make mistakes, because we're human and we're gonna, get on with that forgiveness and move on. Because I get into these weird conversations when I start talking about forgiveness with my patients. And they say, well, what if someone killed your child? I said, I still have to forgive them. Yeah. I can't have situational forgiveness. You either forgive people or you don't forgive people. So you know what? If we're supposed to forgive people, forgive them. Because it's damaging to you. So stop damaging yourself. And if you stop damaging yourself, your body's going to go great. Now, the reason why I have these books here, it's not because I'm bragging. I've read 5 books. The last 2 are John Maxwell books. That's a Stephen Harper book. I don't know who wrote that one, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Belief. This is not, thanks. Was it?
Mark something.
Yeah, it's
Mark
not.
Stein?
Yeah, it's not for someone who doesn't like F-bombs dropped in there because there's a lot of swearing in that book. And The 12 Rules of Life. I started with that one, Jordan Peterson, and that was a tough book. I remember I was Googling, I'm reading the book, and then it's like, oh, I gotta stop and Google the word again. Because every page would be a word, I have no idea what this word is. So it was really breaking, and it was like 300 pages of reading. It was a tough first read. But the reason why I'm talking about that one, it was my first book I had read in, let's say, a couple years. All right?
Yeah, we picked one where he's way smarter than us.
Yeah, and yeah, he's really, really smart. Now, the second book was, I think it might have been Harper would have been the second book, and then I might have that order mixed up. But the other books were a little more enjoyable. The other book I've got here, actually I'll get into that in the next slide in a second. But it just shows that you can start doing things differently. So that was 5 books for me in 4 months. And I don't read. So I do my internet reading. I do my reading for work. You know, I have to put in my certain hours with my college. And then you say, yep, that was good, but I'm just putting in the motion in the sense versus actually learning more about what I'm doing. So these are my 2019 book. I've already read The Cure. I've already read Illusions. Now The Cure, Mike gave me that book, and that was a great book. So it's about our relationships and how we mess them up as human beings. So let's stop messing up relationships and become who we're supposed to. Illusions, that's a Richard Bach book. Have you guys ever read that book? The Adventures of a Reluctant Messiah. It's actually a very interesting read. I'd recommend that one. That one was only like a 3-hour read. And the Storos Principle, I'm about halfway through that one. That's a biblical look at saving money and God blessing our money. And then I've got 2 Mark Sharona books. I've started one. It's okay to let go. It's about Jacob and the Bible and Jacob's transformation, the heel grabber. And I don't know if you guys know Mark Sharona? The big pastor from the States. He was big in the 1990s. So I met him through Maximize Living when I was with Maximize Living. So that's a theme, you know, in 2 months I might be reading all books on inoculations. I don't know. I just kind of go from one thing to another. But start reading books. So I've got through 2 books already and I'm halfway through the next book. And that was 2019. So I'm having a pretty good month. Am I going to do that every month? No. Sometimes I have to go outside and exercise too. But when we get into this weather, it's a great idea to get some reading done. Next workshop, 2 weeks from now, it's going to be here. And it's on G5 technology. Everyone's happy about G5. I'm not happy about G5 or 5G or whatever they call it. You know, all these microwaves that are going to be going through you, all these rockets that we're putting up into outer space to launch these satellites. And then we have this young group of people who are saying, we need to stop using gasoline. And it's like, seriously guys, I get it. Whether you're for or against global warming, this is not about global warming. It's about the fact that gas has become the scapegoat of everything. And you look at all the plastic that's in the oceans, you look at Monsanto, Roundup, we have all this chemicals on your breakfast cereals, and you guys are worried about 100 years from now. Last year there was over 400,000 abortions in the United States, and we're worried about what could happen in 100 years. I say, well, we should be getting a little more what's going on, right now in our lives. And I think there's a lot of people that think the same way, but we get caught up in these ideas. So, we have all these young people that want to look down at their phones and go to Starbucks all day long, and they're against all this global warming, and yet we put 90 rockets into the air and destroy the ozone. Well, it's like, well, it all kind of works together here, guys. So we need that bigger picture of how it fits together. So that's going to be part of our talk, and then we are going to get into some goal setting that night too. So that's 2 weeks from now here. And the reason why we're doing that quicker than a normal talk is because when we go to transform and change ourselves, we need to meet. So when I just leave people, they walk out the door and they don't do anything, about a month later we find out they haven't done anything. If you know that you have to do something in the next 2 weeks, there's a good chance. And like I said, I've been doing this since 2007. And I know that it's a small percentage of people that I'm going to get to do anything. But the reality is, I don't care. I don't care if it's one person, I don't care if it's 6 people. Because those 6 people will change their lives. You guys have seen some of the posters around here. Size 14 to size 5 with Liz. This guy was on 19 medications, lost 35 pounds. These are amazing transformations. They did it, not me. But they decided to do it. And that could be someone in this room. That could change your entire life. That's what tonight is about, is the opportunity of becoming who you're supposed to be, or moving towards who you're supposed to be. So that's why workshops are important. The next workshop after that is Recipe night. Why don't you go get? Yeah, why don't you go get the stuff? We're going to hand it out in a couple minutes. Linda actually was gracious enough to make a healthy treat yesterday, and she'll explain what she's going to give out. But when you eat this, it's sugar-free and it's grain-free. It's made from dates, so there is sugar in there, but it's natural sugar. People get confused when it comes to sugar. They go, oh, I can't drink milk because there's sugar in it. Well, you can't drink chocolate milk because there's sugar in it. Normal milk has God's milk in there. That's okay, all right? So you're making life pretty hard on yourself when you're saying, I'm not going to have any sugar at all. Yeah, why don't you pass them around? So can you tell them what's in it, just in case no one flops and drops to the floor? You shouldn't be allergic to any of these.
What we
Just wanna
want to
make sure.
do with recipe night, if you haven't come to a recipe night before, we do whole foods. We try to get rid of grains, and if we do use grains, they're healthy grains. So what we're trying to do is get the most nutrition and still keep the taste, because a lot of people have said, well, I've tried this healthy food and there's no taste. And so we play around with a lot of recipes, and the internet is great because there's just so much out there, and we adapt them. Or you're at a friend's place and they give you something, you go, it's really good, but then maybe I can take it home and I try it and I substitute. I might use some stevia instead of sugar. So these are double chocolate caramels. So it's like a caramel, so it's going to be chewy and whatever. So these are the type of recipes that we're going to do at Recipe Night, and we're doing Death by Chocolate because we're doing it right before Valentine's Day, and we all love chocolate, but chocolate is one of those things that you don't want to have too much of, or you feel guilty if you indulge, but if it's healthy and it's packed with nutrition, not to say that there's no calories in it, but so if anybody's allergic to nuts, I may as well start with that though. Nuts, coconuts, dates, then don't have them. And it's sweetened with stevia.
I guess it's just a good idea. Makes life easy.
I did use coconut.
If I made it 100, I could use.
You could use carob, yeah. I use carob actually for the bottom part, but the top part.
And while you pass that out, I'm going to keep going. So have a snack, we're going to keep going, I have a lot of slides to go through. There's approaches in life. I can give you a fishing, I can give you a fishing ball, I can show you how a fishing ball works, I can give you a net. I want to give you the tools so that you can actually be successful in your life. So let's go fishing. Our goal is to make this year the best year ever. If you don't think this year is going to be the best year ever, you're already in trouble, all right? So that's a mindset problem. You're like, oh my gosh, people are worried about everything. They're worried about prime ministers, they're worried about presidents, they're worried about walls. Worry about what you eat for breakfast, all right? Worry about whether you're going to exercise. That's going to kill you quicker than anything else around. So get focused on what's important in your life. Turn the TV off. Stop watching the news or the fake news, wherever you want to watch it, because people, there's bias behind everything. And everyone's trying to sell you something. Well, here's what I'm selling. God put greatness inside your body. And that greatness will never let you down. There, that's my sales pitch. You're great. What's everyone else trying to sell you? My body, I'm lacking. I need this. If I go to the brick and buy this, people will love me. If I take this one thing, I'll be healthy. I'm lacking. Everyone is selling you something based on lacking. You are greater than anyone has ever let you believe. That's what I want you to understand, because that's who you are. And that's who you've always been. You just bought in on their model. Do you get that? Greater than anyone has ever let you believe. They've been keeping you down with their lies, because then you'll buy their products. You're great. So guess what? Step out into the light, start doing what you're supposed to, and make this year the greatest year ever. The truth. Let me make it easy with New Year's resolutions. You need to take way better care of yourself, and if you don't, you're going to die before you're supposed to. And that's tragic to all your friends. So that's coming from the opposite angle here. If you don't take care of yourself, it's going to be tragic, and you're going to leave a mess behind for the people that you told me that you love. All right? That wake-up moment in our lives. That makes it a little easier to do our resolutions, doesn't it? Now, with Maximize Living, we talk about the 5 essentials. Maximize mindset. That's what we believe, the stories, the narratives that we tell ourselves. And I'll tell you what, you guys have been lying to yourself and telling yourself some doozies that aren't true, because you are greater than you think. We get into the nerve supply. I got 2 slides at the end. They talk about chiropractic, so I don't really hit that hard on chiropractic. God put the most amazing power in your nervous system. My job is simply to make sure there's no interference with that. We're going to get into nutrition, we're going to talk about exercise, and we are going to start with toxicity. Well, actually, we're going to talk about it after our death, aren't we? That's my next slide. It's funny because you start reading this stuff, and this is in the newspaper all the time. The crushing household debt. People are living the good life. We spend 1.7 times more than what we make. So we spend 170% of what we make, hoping our house goes up in value, or we win the lottery. You know, it might happen, but it might not. So you might want to plan for things not working out that way. And the whole idea behind the storehouse principle is you put something away, it will be blessed. It will grow. Your debt will also grow, but it will not be blessed. God's not going to send 100 angels on a suicide mission, okay? You spend more than you make, you're in trouble. That's not His problem. That's all on you. What does debt do to your sleep? Probably interferes with it. How about your digestion? Yeah? Your energy? Yeah? Oh, let's see. How would you feel if you correct that problem? Probably better. Stop eating out. When you go and you do Uber Eats or all these things that people do that I have no idea, skip the dishes, it's 4 to 5 times the price of eating at home. Our boys live at home, and they have to cook 2 meals each every week to live there, which is great, because now I know they know how to cook, and then Linda's not in the kitchen all the time because she would be there all the time. And we typically have how many hot meals a day? 2, sometimes 3?
At least.
We don't eat cereal. We don't have toast that often. We eat. And obviously it's working out okay. So we eat and we're active, but we're eating the right food. All right? So we don't, we enjoy it at home. We want to make sure our kids are eating the right food and they know how to make the right food. Now the question now is, which way are you going? We've all been there. We're sitting on a chair, we're making choices. There's the right way, there's the wrong way. And tonight, I'd like you to decide what direction you're going to go into in your life. when I looked at this one today, I thought, I was trying to think of something intelligent to say, and it was like, hey honey, did you put my shirt in the dryer? That's the best I could come up with. My shirt in the dryer? Your shirt's not in the dryer. If anyone's got anything better than that, shout it out here. It's not the dryer, is it? It's not the dryer at all, it's toxins. We get exposed to toxic things, toxic products get into our bodies, they get stored in fat. They alter your hormones and they make it really hard to lose weight. So sometimes it's not about the calories. Even though Oprah, remember Weight Watchers, it used to be about the calories for years. Then it was like, maybe it's not about the calories because, you know, I could eat all my calories in chocolate and red wine and still lose weight. Yeah, you're going to die though. And then Weight Watchers about 3 or 4 years ago, they said, wait, you need to exercise. And it's like, wow, that's transforming. Where did they come up with that idea that people need to exercise to live a better life? Guys, we know what we're supposed to do. We're just not doing them. Most people don't understand toxicity. And if you understood toxicity, so we have organs in our body designed to detoxify us. You know what you're going to do? You're going to go and buy a colon cleanse. You're going to go spend a lot of money on something to try to clean you out when you already have organs that are designed to detoxify you. My first advice is stop putting toxic things into your body, and then your body will get around to getting them out of. But you're putting them in there at a rate that your body can't get it out at. It's funny when you read the warnings for toothpaste. Whoops. There's a couple things here. This one, warning, as with all fluoride toothpaste, keep out of the reach of children under 6 years of age. If you accidentally swallow more than used for brushing, seek professional assistance or contact a poison control center immediately. So they're saying if you ingested this, the fluoride could kill you. And guess what? We're going to flavor it. Do you see the problem with that? So we buy fluoride-free toothpaste. You think it would be cheaper because they didn't put fluoride in, but it's more expensive. It's almost like that unleaded gas. So you put the lead in the gas and now it's cheaper. And when you didn't put the lead in the gas, it's more expensive. It's like, that doesn't make any sense, does it? And then when you look at deodorants, so I would recommend a deodorant instead of antiperspirant. Look at this. No aluminum, no parabens, no phthalates, and no propylene glycol. Why do you think they put that on there? Those are toxic things. Now, a few years before, don't worry, the same company was making them with all those chemicals in there. But at least now, you have the option. You need to read labels, you need to understand, but these organs are designed to detoxify you. So stop putting bad things in your body. One of the #1 things that we do put in our body is medications. Now, I'm 29 years and 4 months since I've taken any medication. The last thing I took, I was in 3rd year chiropractic college, and I took an antibiotic. I looked at my life and said, I don't want to take antibiotics anymore. So I made changes, and then I made more changes, and I made more changes. So I haven't had Tylenol in I don't know how long. It's over 29 years. I haven't taken anything in all those years. The only exception was I had 2 operations, inguinal hernia and my knee done last year. I let them put me out under general anesthetic. So I figured that was probably a smart idea. But then when you wake up and they want to give you stuff, I go, nope, I'm not taking anything. They go, well, you're going to be sorry. I go, how long do drugs take to work? About half an hour. I said, so I'm going to be sorry for half an hour. They go, yeah. I said, okay, I'll learn my lesson. I didn't need any medication afterwards. Why? Because I have faith in my body. Doping the body up doesn't mean you're better. It just means you don't know that you're sick. Your household cleaning products, many of those are toxic. Teflon, you got to get rid of it. You need to filter your water. And yes, mold and biotoxins are very toxic to a large percentage of the population too. So you have to make choices. And if you know what the worst things are that you're doing, I would suggest making changes with those first. And if you start to make those changes, you know, you could throw in your cosmetics, your beauty products, all those things are certainly toxic also. So Linda, you were going to talk for just a couple minutes about the slide here.
Just to give Jeff a little bit of a break here.
Yeah, so this is about goal setting that Linda wanted to talk about.
If you're like most of us, when it comes to New Year's, you just sort of cross your fingers. When it comes to New Year's, say your resolutions and your goals, and go, oh, I hope it works, right? And it never works for any of us. So the idea is with our resolutions and for New Year's, we have to become a little more deliberate and intentional. And basically, it's a renewal and it's our time to kind of reflect about what we did last year, what worked, what we think we might need to do for this year. And it's actually, the year's gonna go very fast. At the end of the year, we're gonna go say, where'd the year go? And I didn't get around to doing any of my goals again. So you do need to make the time, especially because our lives are so busy, you have to carve it out. And there's no way that you can actually avoid that. If you want to make some changes this year, you have to put a little work in. So these are just some suggestions. I just saw this up on the internet and I kind of like the idea because it's broad, it encompasses a lot of things. You don't have to do it all, but it's not about just doing one thing, it's just getting a balance back in our life. So maybe 3 health goals, and you write them down and you figure how you're going to do it. And it might just be breakfast. I'm going to do breakfast really well. That's my health goal. Things to stop doing. Well, that's easy again, right? So you find
Ask your
things.
spouse.
Yeah, there we go. That would be the best thing to do. Ask somebody you live with, you know? Or needle movers. So how am I going to know if I'm achieving them? So again, you have to build in time to reflect, try to figure that out. How am I going to know if it's actually working for me? Things to boost your spirit. Well, again, you don't always want to be doing something that's hard work. You want to put something fun in there. So is it, I'm going to go out and have some fun with my friends, have a special evening, or is there, like, sit down and carve out a half an hour each to read something that I enjoy, just something for you. And 3 ways to stay on course. Again, it's some things that a lot of people do is you get a buddy system, or someone that, like, in your family, your spouse, your child, a good friend, someone you work with, right? And those are all things because it keeps you on path and it also makes you accountable to someone.
Yeah, and that's where Linda found that. So the information is right there. That's the gentleman's name, Dave Gottfried. And we have 3 things to boost. When we go out with friends and when we have people over, and this is one of those things, it's the defining moment, we make them exercise. So it's
We don't have a lot of friends.
we don't have a lot of friends. So, for example, on Friday night we have this drop by pickleball at our place. So we have a tennis court we converted to pickleball. If we're going to go into dinner with some friends, we make them go skating with us, or we force them to go on a walk first, and then we'll incorporate 45 minutes to an hour of walk, and then you'll end up at
Or we go
Bauer
bowling.
Kitchen. Or we'll go bowling. So this is what we do, and people really enjoy doing that instead of just going over to someone's place and then sitting down. So at least this way they know they've gotten a form of exercise in. And you know what? People at first are going to think it's kind of weird. They're going to like it. All right. So it's a matter of I don't care what they like. This is what we're going to do. And if they don't want to play with me anymore, it's like, well, okay. Not everyone wants to play with me anyway. So this is our lunch that one of my JK teachers was talking to me about 2 years ago. And this is what we're seeing people pack a lunch. 10 Oreo cookies.
In one day?
That was lunch. That was the whole lunch.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That's
For
crazy.
the child or for an adult?
That's for a child. That's a 4-year-old child.
Oh.
35 grams of sugar,
Oh
almost
my.
9 teaspoons of sugar. Have you guys seen the new Nutella things at Costco, like the 7-pounders? And what's the Kraft, not the Kraft Dinner, but the mac and cheese one? It's like, I don't know, 27 pounds? Don't buy it. All right.
It was sold out anyway.
Yeah. I really want you to do the opposite. I want you to do the opposite of what everyone else is doing. Okay, just keep that in mind. Everyone's doing this. I wonder if I should run in the other direction. This is a run in the other direction. Because people just don't understand how much sugar. Average Canadian, 26 teaspoons of sugar. If you're a female, it's supposed to be 6. If you're a male, it's 9. Those are the limits, according to the World Health Organization. 6 or 9 teaspoons of sugar. 26.
And where are they getting the sugar from?
But they're getting it from all sources. So they're getting it in their orange juice, they're getting it in their grains, they're getting it in bad choices. All right? So it's the food that they're not supposed to put in your body. Glyphosate, that's that Roundup product that we talked about from Monsanto. That Monsanto name is going to disappear. Bayer bought them, as you probably know by now. And you're not going to see it. They're going to rebrand it. But it's just as toxic. It's on your cereal. It's in every California wine. So when it comes to choosing your wine, I'd say you might want to go organic. All right? Because I don't know why they need to spray everything. If you've got a vine, Linda was talking about this, from a grape plant, How many weeds are you gonna get in there? They just spray every year. You don't need to do this, but this is what we see. And this is brought to you, and the good folks in Monsanto, your junk food, it's filled with all these toxic things. And there's only been 2 studies on GMO. One was done by the people who created genetically modified food. And this one was Dr., I think his name was Cyril. And he's an Italian guy. And here's his study. And his study worked out different than what Monsanto came out. Isn't that strange? 2 studies. Monsanto said, don't worry about this stuff, it's totally safe. And this other guy goes to repeat the experiment. He said, well, I guess it's totally safe, except for all these tumors that are growing. What you don't understand is a lot of the research that comes out on drugs and all these things they have to do, they have to prove it was better than the placebo. So let's say I'm putting out an antidepressant, and I try it and it's worse than the placebo, so it doesn't work out as well. And it fails again and fails again, but then it finally passes. I have selected the right people to be in the trial, and now I've got a difference for 8 weeks, and then after 8 weeks they start killing themselves. Okay, it gets even better. I can stop my trial right here and say, look I know I failed 4 times, don't worry about that. This one showed I was successful up to 8 weeks, and then the data disappears because they don't want to tell you that. This is how things get on the market, guys. You just don't understand that. So this is why you have to have an understanding. I'm not saying you need to do research. You have to understand that when someone says this is better than what God intended, now the seed doesn't ever have to propagate. And it's like, well, wait a second, seeds are supposed to. That's how it works. This is not better than nature. This is worse than nature. Three major things you have to do. You eat too much sugar, you don't understand toxicity, and you're afraid of fat. There's 3 things you can eat in your diet. Fat, proteins, and carbohydrates. You've been convinced that fats are bad for you, so you cut out all the fat in your life, which means you've just gone on a high-carb diet. How's that going to work out for you? You need to be on a high-fat diet, but you need to understand, I don't want you eating protein. I want you eating avocados, okay? Fat is good for you, and that allows you to not eat the bad carbs. People eat a lot of sugar. Average American, 63 pounds of high fructose corn syrup and 150 pounds of sugar. You don't need that much food. I went out for a run, it was about 2 weeks ago, and I decided to go, I went a little farther. Before I knew it, I ended up running a half marathon. I haven't been running much. So my knee got hurt a few years ago, and then I had a knee operation, and I started getting back to running. But I did this entire run, and I didn't carry any nutrition. Before, gel packs and all sorts of things. I needed energy to run. And you know what? When you start eating the right fats, and your body becomes a fat burner, you don't rely on sugar. This is why I had a 16-hour fast yesterday. 16-hour fast it's a piece of cake. Why? Because there's fat on my body. And now my body will now start to burn off the fat to moderate my blood sugar levels so I don't get hunger pains. The problem is someone's been telling you to snack and eat all the time. So you're snacking all day long, you're storing fat, and you're never reanimating the fat. You are a sugar burner, all right? You go to any of these restaurants, all these fast food places, it's carb, carb, carb. So you're just filling yourself with carb. It's that roller coaster ride. You wake up in the day, you start with a bagel. Hey, guess what? It's going to get ugly because you just altered your blood sugar levels. And now it's going to be the roller coaster. You wake up in the day and you fast for the first 4 hours. So I'm still going to eat 2 or 3 meals today. But when I eat, I'm going to be very selective. I'm going to choose. But if I wake up and decide to have bread, even if it's organic bread from Costco with wheat in it, I'm going to want more. Because that's what these cravings can do to your brain. So start your breakfast with 3 eggs or 2 eggs and no toast. That would be better. Or do a fast once or twice a week. But when you start your day with a glass of orange juice, toast, and then a wheat-based cereal, sugar, sugar, sugar. Because grains are broken down into sugars so quickly, your body can't tell the difference. All right? I don't even care if it's a whole grain. It's a grain with glyphosate sprayed on it. All right? So you're caught in the, oh, this is better, a whole grain is better than that. The Canadian Food Guide, I think it's 6 to 8 servings of grain a day. That's ridiculous. You can't eat that many a day and not become a diabetic over time. Your toxic load. If you're going to do dairy, please go organic. We don't do dairy. We do some yogurt, but we don't drink any milk because it's something that it's dead. It's already been sanitized, sterilized. Watch eating your box food. When you have box food, someone has taken it and they have ultra processed it. Try not to store your food in plastic. Our peanut butter comes in plastic. There's only certain limits that we can do, but when we freeze our food in glass containers with the lids, all right? So, and then if I really want to, sometimes we'll cut out, what do we use, wax paper, so that the plastic lid doesn't touch it because it's in the freezer. I'm not saying you can't ever have Tupperware. You can have Tupperware, just don't let the food touch the Tupperware. So put wax paper around it, then put it in the Tupperware. Don't put nuts and seeds in there because that's a fat. You don't want the fat against the plastic, all right? So Tupperware is still great. You just don't want food touching the Tupperware. So don't go home and throw away all your Tupperware and get mad at me. You can still use it sensibly. I wouldn't put it in the microwave. We don't have a microwave at home. So that's when I say I wouldn't put it in the microwave, it's because we don't have a microwave. We don't have a microwave. We're way out there, I guess, compared to other people. Watch your personal hygiene products. Get rid of Teflon. There's some ceramic products. There's some really good products out there. Don't drink the city water. Filter your water. And then aluminum and mercury that are in our needles. The reason why they put aluminum and mercury in the needles, they're called an adjuvant. And they put them in there because your body doesn't take the dead virus very seriously. So if they put aluminum in there, they can make your immune system respond and produce antibodies to it. But, I don't take flu shots. My kids don't get inoculated. They go to school and, they caught chicken pox. They caught all the diseases. In 10 years, people are going to look back and go, children used to die from chicken pox. It's like, no, they didn't. But that's what the younger generation thinks. They think people died from chicken pox. And in Africa, they might. But where do you live? Oh, you live in Canada. People don't die from chicken pox in Canada. If you start to protect your 5-year-old, you're going to find out when they're 25, they're going to get chicken pox. And it's going to be way worse than if they got it when they were 5. And yes, shingles is going to be on the rise because of how they've altered your exposure. We don't get exposed to chickenpox virus the same way. So not everyone's going to get shingles, and it's going to be an ugly disease. It's going to be the rundown, weak people. My advice to you is don't be the rundown, weak people. Any pandemic that's ever killed people on Earth, 1%. Spanish flu, they talk about it in 1918, 50 million people died. According to the sources, that's about 1% of the world population. I don't know, which group do you want to be in, the 99 or the 1%? Make better choices. This was young Jeff. This was me 4.5, actually it was almost 5 years ago. So I had a really good year. That year I ran 3 marathons. That was my first one, 3:43. Last one I ran, I qualified for Boston. I didn't go. Went to Boston once. I ran a 3:28. That was the best. And I did 2 half Ironmans. One of them I actually crossed the finish line on. The other one I didn't. So, but the whole idea is you set goals, you achieve goals. But those goals took me years to get there. I didn't run when I was 40. I didn't run. Then I started running. So people are like, oh, well, you did. I haven't done this all my life. I sat on my butt on a couch like a lot of other people. Go to my website. There's a lot of great stuff there. There's good recipes on there. And the question here is cartography and GPS. It's funny because we used to talk to kids about this. It's like, well, you should know how to read a map. It's like, yeah, you know what? You probably don't need to know how to read a map anymore because we have these GPSs which are pretty cool when you finally decide that they want to try one. So they kind of got me to move in that direction on
Well,
that.
we'd be traveling and they'd have their phones and
Yeah.
we'd have our maps and they were saying, oh, it's right there. Oh, it's
So we still
on my
carry
map.
some maps in the car just in case the world melts down. But some things you might, so the whole point is you might not have to recreate everything. It's on my website. All right? So go there, get some information. Fitness, don't you love that? We're going to take the escalator up.
And it's so,
When you exercise, your brain works better, your nervous system heals better, your self-esteem, everything. You need to exercise. I know people don't want to exercise. Tough is my normal response. Oh, it's going to hurt me. Well, guess what? If you don't exercise, eventually everything's going to hurt. At least when I choose to exercise, I get to determine what muscle groups are going to be mad at me the next day. It's still going to hurt, but I get to choose what's going to hurt. You will age so much better. And the research is, I'll just get into this right now. The research is when you get older, if you don't keep exercising, you're going to lose 20% of your muscle mass.
Every
You
day.
saw me when I was running, now you see me now, I'm thinner now. You know, I can rock a small shirt now, I'm almost into the kids department with clothing right now. So, you know, it's not where I want to go, but that's what happens if you don't stay on top of this stuff. So you really need to be doing it on a regular basis. Alzheimer's, senility, dementia, all these things are related to you not exercising. So you can decrease the chance of this happening. Intermittent fasting. This is not complicated, and we go over this all the time. I've reduced it to one slide because that's all I'm going to spend on this, is you need to stop eating after 6 o'clock at night and then eat at 8 in the morning. That's intermittent fasting. I know I'm asking you to do a lot, not to snack one night, but that's what I'm asking you to do. And actually, it might seem tough because when you're a fat burner, your body's not very good at animating. So when you're a sugar burner, you're not very good at animating the fat. The more you do it, the easier it gets. Linda had a 36-hour fast. I had a 34-hour fast a few months ago. And it's amazing. The mental clarity gets better. Sid was in earlier today. Sid's...
Well, we can't do what Sid does.
Sid was
don't want to.
164 pounds. He's 9 days into what he calls a dry fast. So not only has he not eaten food, he's not had a drink of water in 9 days. You're like, he's going to die. It's like, Sid, how long are you going to go this? Saturday till noon. I said, well, how much are you going to weigh then? It's about 127. So he's going to go from 164 to 127. He hasn't had anything. He's had this chronic knee problem. He goes, yeah, my knee problem. I ran 10K yesterday, and then I got up this day and I ran another 10K today. It's like, that's good. So you know, you were talking like, oh, I'm so tired. I'm not going to make it through the day. So Sid hasn't had a drink of water in 9 days or anything to drink, and he's out running 10K, and then he runs it the next day, and he's still going to go till Saturday. And he said, oh, today was a tough day, though. It's like, you know, okay, what are you going to do? I'm going to go home. I'm going to go till Saturday. It's like, okay, man. You know, he's way out there. But he did that, and he's doing it, and he's done it before. And then he'll start drinking, and he'll put on 20 pounds in a day and a half. Because it's a lot of water mass. What his body is doing is it's looking at cells that really aren't very healthy, and it's just killing them off. So I'm not going to give you any food. It's keeping the food for the good cells. So his body is picking off a bunch of sick cells or cells that are getting, and it's cleaning. It's like purging a house. You know, you start cleaning things up and go, isn't this room tidy now? Well, that's what his body is forced to do because of what he's doing. Pretty amazing. I'm not saying you should go overdo this. I'm saying try to get 16 hours or 14 hours. I think I told you this is a 14-hour one. And then once you get good at it, then you start going longer and longer and longer. It's pretty easy. You can drink coffee during a fast. You can drink water during a fast. Just not a coffee with a triple, because now you put cream and sugar in there, okay? It's a black coffee. No coconut, no butter, none of those things that you want to add to your coffee sometimes. Not this time. Metabolic conditioning. Where's that article, Linda? Do you have it somewhere? This is neat. We have been talking about high-intensity interval training in our office. We've been doing it for 10 years. And then you read the paper, it's like, it's a new trend in exercise. And I go, great, another new trend. The world has caught up to us. And we're not the first ones doing this, but this is stuff that's like, seriously, guys. You're waiting around for Hollywood to say, I should do some intermittent fasting.
And that's what Hollywood was
Hollywood,
saying at
yes.
the global.
They're pretty, but they're not that smart down
Global
there.
Board, yeah. They were doing
Yes, I-
intermittent fasting and also
And
training.
they were doing both of the things I've been telling you to do for years and years and years. Well, guess what? They work. So interval training, the high-intensity interval training, you're working out at 90% to 100%, and it's only for 10 to 30 seconds. That's what you're doing. And then you're panting like a dog, catching up, and then you're doing it again. And then before you know it, it's 12 minutes and your workout's done, and the next day, you're going to have trouble putting your pants on. All right? And then after that, the second one's going to be easy, the third one's going to be good. You're forcing your body into an area that it's not good at, and then it will quickly adapt and become very good at that. 12 minutes of exercise. And that won't get you to a half Ironman, it won't get you to a marathon, but it'll get you into your pants, which would be a good thing, and then your body will work better. So yeah, 20 seconds on, 20 seconds off. That's kind of what people do with that. And yes, we built the gym here in the office for that. So we built the gym. You can come and use this anytime, Monday and Thursday classes. Linda does a yoga class Thursday morning. All of this stuff is free in our office. There's a lot of free stuff that we give out here. Why? Because you should be able to do the these things. Myth. Fat makes you fat. Fat does not make you fat. All right. This is where I always confuse people. We're going to do it anyways. 8 ounces of skim milk, 8 ounces of homogenized milk. Which one has more sugar in it?
You mean full fat, not homogeneous?
Full fat. I'm sorry. Yeah. Full
This is homogeneous.
okay. Full fat milk and skim milk. Which one has more
Skim
sugar
milk.
in it?
Skim.
The skim. And why does the skim have more sugar in it?
Because they have to.
You take the fat out, you're absolutely right. It's kind of like distilling. So if I was going to, make alcohol and you distill something, you're making it concentrated. When you take the fat out, something else has to be in there. So you've been told to go low fat. You've been told to do these things, and that will concentrate your sugar. You get that? Because it's still 8 ounces. So something else is in there. It's sugar. And then you're going to drink the sugar. It's like saying, well, an orange juice is the same as an orange. No, it's not, because of the fiber. So that's why you have to understand your fat does not make you fat. It's what man has done to your fat. So you know what I want you to do? I want you to look at your sugars. I want you to eliminate them. You can go sugar-free and grain-free. We've done it. And it's amazing how much better your body works. Then you need to start eating the right proteins and the right fats. So I don't want you to go to the grocery store and buy your chickens there. You need to find a place. We found a place out in Fergus where they do free-range chicken for us, and if they feed them with non-GMO food. So how long did that take us to find? You Googled in an afternoon, you
We
found
found
this
it
place.
when we were going up to.
Oh yeah, we were going to another farm that
then
was
we
selling
saw the
organic
sign.
chicken, and we saw this one. It was a Habitat for Humanity farm, Jones Baseline, out in Fergus. So you know what? We just did turkey chicken drop off around Christmas or before Christmas, and it was, what was it? 88 chickens. There was supposed to be more, but then there was some chickens that died. So we got our 15, I think, to get us through the winter, and yeah, they're frozen, but the reality is they're what we should be getting. So I'd rather freeze something that's healthy than get something fresh that's not as healthy.
And at this time of year, when people say that it's a free range
Yeah.
chicken, they're
They're
not,
not. They're
because they
inside.
can't start them.
Yeah, so we'll get some more in the spring.
Outside in the winter.
And you gotta eat the right fats. So if you eat the right fats, your body's gonna work better. People don't know how to read label. Here's one label for you. What does that say right there? No trans fat. Isn't that crazy? What's that right here? Hydrogenated vegetable oil. You know what that is? That's a trans fat. Gee, isn't that crazy?
How did they get away with lying?
They get away with it because they negotiated with the government. And if it's less than 0.2 grams
Yes.
of trans fat per serving size, then they can say it's not on there.
And they pick the serving
Guess
size.
what? I'm going to change my serving size.
Yeah.
See how that magically made this? They didn't reformulate. Boom, boom. And you look at it. Well, at least it's peanuts is the first ingredient, which is a great idea. Not like Nutella, where sugar is the first ingredient. They say it's made of hazelnuts. No, it's made out of sugar. And then it's made out of vegetable oil. Oh, there's hazelnuts. It's the third ingredient in it. When you're looking at a label, it tells you what's the most common, and it goes all the way down. So, peanuts, that's good. Well, soybean oil, well, that's a GMO product. And it should probably be peanut oil in peanuts, one would think. But they sold the oil off, put a cheap oil in. Now you don't have to stir it. They did you a favor, didn't they? They sold the expensive oil, put a cheap oil in there, a GMO oil. And the next one, maltodextrin, that is sugar. Icing sugar. I'm assuming that's sugar too. And if you add those two together, I'm going to make the argument that that might be the second ingredient. Who knows? See, they're just playing the sugar game there with you. So you got to read a label. So here's the peanut butter that we would have it on. And some things are organic, some things aren't. And some things are in plastic, some things I can't get them in glass. But the ingredient in this is peanuts. You get used to not having sugar in there. It takes about 5 days before you realize. And it's like, oh, my kids won't eat that. Oh, do your kids buy their own groceries? No, they eat my stuff. Then they'll probably eat it. Real simple argument there that you just throw it away, you buy the new stuff, and they'll do it. Yes, 12 grams of sugar are in Nutella. So you're a good mom, you get up and you spread chocolate on the toast. You wash it down with an orange juice. Salt. You should read your label on salt. Third ingredient there, invert sugar. Who would have thought?
Salt.
Got the sugar in there.
Jeez.
Yeah. Now, where you buy your cows from. We found a farmer down West Lauren area, and he does our organic. He's not certified organic. I've been to his farm. It's grass-fed. It's grass-finished. Finished is a very important thing too. They finish a lot of times with corn because it adds to the bulking. Yeah, marbles, and it sweetens it up, all those things. But this farmer does it the right way. This is a healthy cow. Now he's going to be butchered, okay? He's still dying. They're dying, but he got to live before he died. All right? So he was outside, he was getting sunlight, he was eating. And Oprah, remember when Oprah got in trouble? Yeah, Oprah got in trouble for telling the truth. For exposing an industry. And this is a very powerful industry. All right? So the reality is that's what you're eating in a grocery store. It's cheaper. And people want cheaper, but you know what? You might want something better for you. I think better is where to go. Because I think if you put cheap food in your body all the time, you're going to put expensive drugs in your body eventually. And that's the other part of the cartel there. They're getting you on both ends. They're selling you the bad things that make you sick. And then they're selling you the drugs with the illusion that that's going to keep you well. And yet, for some reason, I don't get sick. I'm the only one that survived what's going on in the news right now. I'm the sole survivor right now.
This year.
This year, yeah. So I've been making some good choices the last couple of days. I spiked a fever yesterday for 2 hours, and I was like, I'm okay now. I'm better now. But there's no, I have to really clean up my diet this week because we were all got on the verge of sickness, and I don't like getting sick. I plan my sickness for the weekend, and I don't want to be sick this weekend. Chiropractic. My job is to make sure your nervous system works right. Now, a lot of times people think chiropractic, they say, chiropractic is great for back pain. That's like me saying to you, you know that fancy new iPhone you just bought? I bought it just to use the calculator on it. Okay? Chiropractic is not for back pain. Chiropractic is to remove interference. I'm a vitalist. I understand that your body is designed to heal on its own. Medicine forgot that your body can heal. They got you to buy in on the idea that you can't heal without drugs. Drugs and surgeries work when you're super duper sick. My advice is don't get super duper sick. All right? Make better choices. Your body is designed to heal. So the nerves that go to your heart, if those nerves get pinched, then guess what? Your heart's eventually going to stop working properly. We've adjusted people and got off all their stomach medications. And the stomach medications, they've been in the news a lot over the last couple of years. If the people are taking those gastric reflux drugs, the PPI inhibitor drugs they're called, they increase the chance of dementia. We know they cause bone loss, and they can cause osteonecrosis of the jaw, where your bones will actually die because they stop you from absorbing calcium properly. But they're linked to dementia. Seriously, guys, I know stomach pain is uncomfortable, but dementia's more uncomfortable, all right? So this is what happens. People get talked into a model, and they try to fix all the body parts. Your nervous system is designed to fix the body parts. That's what the nervous system does. It grew the body parts in the first place, and if you let the nervous system do what it's supposed to do, your organs can detoxify you and they can work properly. But most people have this impression, the chiropractor, oh, I got to be sick before I come in. Now that's a medical model. That model sucks, doesn't it? There's never going to be enough money to fix that model because you've bought into a model where people are always going to get sick and they're going to need a needle to save their life. Seriously, a needle to save their life. They talk about how many people die every year of the flu. Now last year, it's funny, this year, and as a matter of fact, in the United States, the Center for Disease Control said 80,000 people died last year from the flu. The last 10 years before, the number was 50,000. So 50,000, 50,000, and the funny thing is, it's always 50,000, always 50,000, always 50,000 if you go to the Center for Disease Control website. But some years the flu shot worked, and some years the flu shot didn't work. Let's see, if the flu shot didn't work, shouldn't more people have died that year? Because they're saving lives all the time, right? People are dying if they didn't get the flu shot. But the number's always the same. And then this year they went from 50 to 80. I'm thinking, shouldn't someone say, oh my God, there was like a 30,000 increase. That's the story. They missed the story because they're lying all the time with their data. They're making up numbers. What I read at one point in Canada, they say only about 4% of us were going to get the flu anyways. So that meant 96% of us weren't going to get the flu. So you're putting a lot more faith in the outside than the inside. It's time to start believing the power that's already inside your body. And I'm not saying, bless you, I'm not saying you can't do things, but I'm saying, you know, when you come in here in my office, if you do something like that, I'm not a confessional. It's not, forgive me, Dr. Jeff, I've taken a flu shot. Take a flu shot, that's great. But eating better is a good idea, and then taking the flu shot. Exercising, and then taking the flu shot. But just taking a flu shot and not changing your lifestyle? Come on. It's not sensible at all. Make better choices, yes. There's drugs for everything. You know what, when you remove interference, when you correct the spine, most of these conditions we've had in our office, and I'm not saying I cure these conditions, I remove interference, the body cures itself. So my model is different, but when a bone slips out of place, it's absolutely going to slow down the flow of God into your body, and when that happens, guess what? Your body is closer to death. We're all about turning the power back on so your body can heal. Good. So, remember, it starts up here. It starts with your thoughts. It starts with you doing some reading. It starts with turning off a television. We all know we're not supposed to eat sugar. We don't need to spend a lot of time on that. But if you're going to go grain-free, go totally grain-free. It'll be a lot better. Now, we've got these books today, if anyone wants to buy them. These books are usually $25. I have 11 copies left. I'm clearing them out tonight. Instead of $25, they're $10. So if you want to give them away as a gift, if you want to, there's a lot of things that I went over here tonight, and there's testimonials in there. If you want to invest in yourself, it's a good investment. If you want to go home and try to do it on your own, go home and try to do it on your own. It's more work, all right? I'm trying to get rid of them. We're going to go with something new with our next makeover. But that's the book that we have used all the way along. So it's not like it's old. It's old truths versus new ideas. Now this to you might seem like a new idea. What I'm talking about here is all old truths. It's just new to some people here tonight. So if you're interested in making some changes, I'd love to help you along the way. And if there's anything I can do from a chiropractic point of view, then you're more than welcome to come and see us.